Danny looked at the apartment where his best friend and crush of 3 years waited. He saw him in the window and waved at him as his heart started beating so fast.
No, too fast.
What?
Beating too fast.
Oh, why did I read that as so fast?
Because they spelled it wrong.
Oh, it's true. Hey. Oh.
Fuck! Get in it!
Hey, silly, get in!
He said, and Hen gulped and pulled his luggage into the house.
Is Hen another character?
Yeah, there's like a hen in the corner, just one quick shot. Should we reenact this as we go?
Yeah, if there's anything. Yeah, so Drew hugged him.
While you just like stand there, trying to figure out why your heart's beating so fast.
Let's get you settled in. And then he helped him into his room. It's a 1-bedroom place, so you'll have to share a room with me. He smiled at him.
It'll be like a sleepover.
Totally.
Then there was a knock at the door, and Danny followed Drew to the door, where they found a girl with long brown hair and big purple eyes, waving. "Hi?" said Drew.
"Hi," she said, flipping her hair back, revealing her badass studded belt.
So basically, purple eyes, everything else is black. She's kind of goth.
"I'm your neighbor Jackie," she said happily.
"If you need anything, come on over," she said, and then left.
Wait, so this interaction is...
"Hi, I'm your neighbor Jackie. If you need anything, let me know."
She was nice.
And pretty cute.
And Danny felt a pain in his heart.
Was Drew totally straight?
He didn't know if he would tell him he's gay and is in love with him. Then, Drew gave him a sweet smile, and he felt warm again.
All right, Drew made a drink for him, and Danny sat at the couch. Not on it, at the couch. They turned on a movie and watched some funny TV shows, and drank all nights until it was 7 a.m. in the morning. Drew pointed at the rising sun. "Hey, Dan, look!" Dan stumbled over and then tripped and fell right into my arm. Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
Suddenly they were starting in each other's eyes. Their faces started itching closer and closer when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Oh! Drew blushed and let go of the embrace and went to the door. "Hello?"
he asked as he opened the door. Then there were 2 guys in black ski masks, and they grabbed Drew and threw him down the apartment stairs, and they ran off. They kidnapped him!
Fuck!
Danny tried to run after the van, but couldn't run as fast as the car. Obviously.
Because it's a car.
Yeah. He called the cops and cried in the apartment. There was a knock at the door. Danny went over to it and gasped. Logan Paul!
Meanwhile, somewhere in coastal Rica, Drew had a bag on his head and he was punched hard. "Let me go! I never got to tell Danny I love him!"
Well, in that case...
Then he was shoved into a van and they started driving.
What?
Are they gonna take me back so I can tell you I love you?
Danny made tea for Logan, and him and Logan looked at him sweetly.
Looked at who sweetly?
Me and Logan both looked at me sweetly.
Okay. I'm so sorry. The Team 10 will help you find him.
I almost kissed him before he...
It's okay. They looked sweet at each other.
You look sweet.
You look sweet. I'm always here for you. Logan leaned in and kissed Danny lightly on the lips, and in a moment of desire and desperate, he pulled Logan close and kissed him harder. They made out and wiggled around the couch until Danny broke away.
I can't. Drew.
Oh, but he was a loser. Go, Logan, go away.
Go, Logan, go away.
Go, Logan, go away. And he grunted and left mad. Danny went to his room to cry. The door slowly opened and Drew limped into the apartment and fell on the floor. "Danny," he said hoarsely.
Drew!
And then you ran to pick him up and help him stand. Drew grabbed him and hugged him tight, and sudden, his lips started touching his and they kissed. And they made out right there.
Right there?
Right there!
In the apartment?
Gross! When they stopped, they smiled at each other.
Be my boyfriend?
Yes.
But I have to tell you, Drew, before you came back, Logan was here. And we made out.
Logan Pale? He roared.
Roar, you have to roar it.
Logan Pale?
Logan Pale! I'm sorry. Drew started crying and ran down the stairs. Then Jackie looked Drew's way that he was running and then came in. Danny was crying and told her what was going on.
"You should do something romantic to show your story and that he is your one and only."
You're right.
He wiped the tears off, and Jackie grabbed a camera and started recording. Danny looked solely into the camera with love in his eyes.
"Hi, Greg. Today I finally told Drew I love him like I said I would. But before that, someone else came over and I kissed them. I love you, Drew, and it will never happen again. You are my light and joy, and I would be proud to be be your husband.
Then Jackie whipped a tear from her face and sniffled and turned off the camera. Beep.
Warning, suicide and sex scene.
They gave it away!
What the fuck is gonna happen? Suicide and sex scene? Meanwhile, in Chicago, Drew was at a sushi restaurant.
When someone sat beside him. Drew Gooden? He said. He looked up. Jake Paul? He almost flinched. How do you almost flinch?
You only thought about it.
I thought about flinching.
So there's nothing physical. It's just
exactly. Meanwhile, in my head, don't flinch, don't flinch.
Yeah, I heard you and Danny had a rough thing happen. Then he posted this. And he pulled out his phone and went to a video and opened it to let him watch. Danny was looking at the camera intense and started talking. Today, I finally told Drew it will never happen again. Never kiss him again. I am with someone else. And then there was a sniffled sound and someone was behind the camera? Danny started to cry silently, but tried to look together. I think someone
edited it. Yeah, out of order.
To make it look like I'm saying something totally natural. Today, I finally told Drew it will never happen again. Never kiss him again. I am with someone else.
And I'm just like, this is so natural. This is how he talks in real life.
Let me buy you a drink. And Jake ordered sake. An Asian drink. They started drinking and talking and laughing and having a good time.
Maybe I was wrong about you, Jake.
Jake put his arm around him, confrontingly. Of course, baby.
They both drunkenly left the bar and stumbled to the hotel room Jake was staying in. Jake started kissing him and pushing him to the bed, and they made out there. Then they started doing it. But Drew didn't know about the camera. It was being live. What the fuck, Jake? That's
Jake's
illegal.
Damn.
I love you, Jake, cried Drew on the stream. Danny and Jackie watched, shocked and dumbfounded as they watched. Jackie looked at Danny, then blacked at the video.
How could he? Danny stroamed around the house.
Jackie tried to call him down.
Danny! Danny!
But Danny opened the window and jumped! Jackie screamed and called 011. Wait, do you know what 011 is?
No.
All right, I'm calling 011.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Hello? My friend has just jumped off the balcony.
Drew woke up with a hangover and threw up. Then he heard his phone ring, and he picked it up. It was Jackie yelling "I" to the phone. I, and calling him shit for what he did to Danny.
What?
Said Drew. He said he found someone else?
What? No, he didn't. I'm sending you the video he made for you. Then she hung up and he got the notification for it. He opened it and his lover spoke words of love right from the heart. He spun around and glared at Jake.
You liar! He screamed. Then he threw his phone at Jake and ran out. Meanwhile, in the suicide hospital,
Danny was sitting in a chair watching a TV show when a nurse said, "You have a guest." He expected Jackie again with some McDonald's or something, but instead, Drew.
He flinched. Okay, so...
At least I flinched this time instead of gasping again.
Or thinking about flinching like I did.
What do you want, traitor? He hissed at him.
Jake lied to me. He made me think you moved on. And I slept with him.
Are we even? Can we be together?
If you can forgive me.
I do. Forgive me?
Yes.
Then they embraced and kissed.
Danny pulled away and knelt down.
I was going to do this somewhere better, but will you marry me?
Drew cried happy tears and nodded.
And they made
out again. Let's get you out of here, said Drew.
Oh, my bones are still broken.
I'm gonna rescue you from the hospital.
You like grab me and hold my bones like... Danny got out of bed where his fiancée was sleeping and he went to the bathroom. Then he spotted something in the sink that he guessed Drew forgot. He picked it out of the sink and looked. It had 2 lines and was a pregnancy test. Drew, he said, and Drew sleepily got up and then gawked at what was in his hand. What is this? Are you?
He looked down ashamed. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow to check. Please, go with me. They waited in the office of the doctor office.
The doctor's so important that his office has his own office.
Another office. They went in and the doctor came into the checkup room. They were in. Are you his husband? Said the doctor. Danny nodded. Well, Mr. Gooden, you are pregnant. And Mr. Gonzalez isn't the father.
What? They both dropped
their jaws.
It was a hot July day, and the concert hall was decked in white everywhere. There was a preacher, and a pretty white arch, and music playing, and food outside.
In the room with Drew, he was putting on his white suit and brushing his hair. He got a knock at the door, and someone popped in. It was Ethan and Hila Klein.
H3!
He said, and they went over to hug him.
I'm so excited for you, said Hula.
Thanks. Ethan, will you walk me down the aisle?
Of course, buddy. And he out his arm.
And then he looked it.
And they walked slowly out.
They stood at the start of the red carpet that went to the arch, and Drew laughed, nervous. And Ethan pat his arm. And they started walking as the wedding song started playing. They stopped at the preacher and stood by him and waited.
They looked at the entrance and waited for Danny. First, Jackie came out to be the bridesmaid, and Jenna Marbles did too.
Then PewDiePie came out with Danny on his arm. They both smiled and Danny blushed,
wearing his baby blue tux.
Drew started crying because he loved him so much.
Thank you for explaining.
Yeah, thanks for finally explaining why I would be crying at my own wedding. Danny stood across him, and they looked at each other with misty eyes. The press smiled at them both and started talking.
Drew Gooden, do you take Danny Gonzalez to be your husband, to hold and love forever as long as you both live? Drew nodded.
Yes, I do.
And Danny Gonzalez, do you take Drew Gooden to be your husband, to love and cherish as long as you live?
Why did you get a different question?
Gonna
I
love
have to hold you forever.
And I have to cherish you forever. I do, said Danny.
If anyone thinks these two should not be married, speak now. And the room got quiet and nobody breathed. Then someone stood up from the crowd and jumped on stage. It was Logan!
Logan Paul?
Danny said. Yes! I don't think they should get married. He's carrying my baby! He shouted and the whole room gasped.
Oh wait, yeah.
Hold on. I thought I was pregnant. I'm pregnant with Jake's baby. Are you also pregnant with Logan's baby? Did I also have sex with Logan?
I guess he must be talking to me, but I don't know why he would know that I'm pregnant. Drew started crying and wished he was somewhere else.
I was somewhere else!
Then Ethan started going into Logan and push him away from the stage.
He takes control of his body and starts pushing himself away. Drew and Danny ran away, and the others escorted them.
Danny, Drew, come out here.
Ethan and Hila and Jenna and Jackie and PewDiePie were outside the cabin they were staying in till everything blew over. Danny looked out the window and gasped.
I'm useless. That's my response anytime anything surprising happens.
Just crippling shock. Outside was a big trellis with roses and lots of food on a table, and music started playing. There was balloons and everyone was wearing dressed up. No way! Who's saying no way? Or is the author saying no way?
The author is so surprised by what she's about to write. Everyone was wearing dressed up and no way! They went outside. She's like amazed at her own ideas.
Yeah. What is this? They both asked, blushing. They felt bad about what happened, so we made you a nice private wedding with just us, said Jackie with a big smile.
They all hugged and Ethan said, I can marry you. I do Jewish weddings, but it can still count for you.
Then Danny put out his hand and Drew took it. Shall we? He nodded and took his hand. Again.
Wait.
He led him to the roses, blub, 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 and Ethan stood in between them. Now, Drew Gooden, do you take Danny Gonzalez to be your husband? Will you love and cherish him in sickness and health? I do, he said softly.
And Danny Gonzalez, do you take Drew Gooden to be your lovely husband through poor and riches for as long as you both live?
Yes, I do, said Drew back. Wait,
what?
So I said it both times.
Yeah, he said,
I said I do twice.
You said I do for mine. First, Drew.
Yes, babe?
I want you to know I want to adopt the baby. Drew had happy tears in his eyes, and Ethan said, I now pronounce you man and husband.
And then they fell into a kiss. Whoa! And that's the end.
So I don't know, what did you think of the story?
Bad.
I kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of sweet.
You liked the story about us falling in love, cheating on each other, getting pregnant, and then marrying each other?
In a way, I feel like it kind of just works.
No, I don't think so at all.